What is up, Louisville, Kentucky? We are live once again. I am the Rhino, Matt Prophet, the artful Rhino, and it pleases me to be coming to you live once again from HOTPOINT Davis Arena, home of Ohio Valley Wrestling. Tomorrow's superstars today. Today is Saturday, February the 8th, and today we are coming to you about T-minus, 2.5 hours till the show starts from OVW's Tough Love. And today, I wish to welcome in Big Zoe, a wonderful guy, and just like I mentioned with Mammoth last month, a well-deserving, one of the most deserving talents on the roster in the business today.
Appreciate that, man.
So I know we've spoken recently about what this channel's all about, and I was wondering, the first question that our viewers want to know is, can you tell us about why you decided to pursue a career in the sports entertainment and especially professional wrestling?
All right. Well, that's a great question, Ryan. I appreciate that. So, I'm actually 40 hours a week. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, so I'm a therapist by trade. So I do that because I just have a passion for helping people. But at a very young age, I was a big fan of professional wrestling. It was a great outlet for me. It brought me a lot of pleasure and a lot of joy. So being able to have the opportunity to provide other people the same pleasure and entertainment that helped me get through some hard times, it just seemed like something that'd be fun. So it's a great outlet for me. I have a stressful job sometimes, so being able to have that release is just a really positive thing. So helping other people to feel positive emotions, maybe when they're going through some challenging times.
That was actually going to be what I was going to mention next. It kind of helped you blow some steam in an entertaining way.
Absolutely, yeah.
Now you mentioned you had been a fan for a while. Who would you say would be your biggest influence as far as getting started?
I'd say that I was a big fan of Kevin Nash and the NWO as a teenager. So kind of watching those guys. Of course, I model a lot of my stuff after Mark Henry, as far as moveset, Bam Bam Bigelow, Vader.
So basically, especially like the super heavyweight brawler kind of guys.
Absolutely, yeah, that's a good way of putting it. So a lot of those guys, but I like the big guys, the Rikishis, that are the big guys that can also move. So I like to be able to leverage my size, but also my athleticism, show people a little bit different.
Right, so it's kind of like the ones with the big eyes, but the ones who have, the ones like throw their weight around, so it's like the agile ones.
Absolutely, yes.
As far as athletics, do you have an athletic background? Our viewers were wanting some similar question I asked me. Like, do you have an athletic background? And if so, come hear about it.
Yeah, so as a young child, I think part of the reason why I'm so agile now is because I was training to be a Power Ranger or a Ninja Turtle at a young age. So
I've been there too.
So definitely 80s baby. So learning how to do the flips and the kicks and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of what started my my athleticism. Actually, as far as sports go, probably around the 6th grade is when I started playing football, so Little League football. And I played all the way through high school, and male high school. I won a state championship in 2000. Went on to play at Murray State.
What position?
So I was on a lineman, so I was put on defensive line, usually nose tackle or defensive tackle, but also offensive tackle, offensive guard.
So basically you were both ways.
Yep, both ways. And then I went on to play football semi-pro for Derby City Thunder. So I did that. When I was doing that, it was mostly offensive line.
I remember the Thunder. I was gonna say I could see you playing semi-pro. It was either that or the Louisville Fire when I was growing up.
Yeah, Louisville Fire. Yeah, they was a good team too.
Yeah,
so aside from that, in high school I did track and powerlifting. So all of those kind of played into. Those kind of fed into the football thing. It's kind of it was during off season, so I need to stay in shape. So go do track, doing shot put and discus, and also lifting weights with the powerlifting team. So yeah.
Well, that's cool. Speaking of powerlifting and staying in shape and off season, I know what some people wrestle year round, especially with OVW, and that's kind of that can also be stressful. But as far as your routine, like staying in shape, especially when the sport's in an off season. What's your normal workout routine like on a daily basis?
You know, it's kind of hard to be consistent. I make it a point to, if nothing else, try to get a few push-ups in here and there. Because I have a crazy schedule, going to the gym is sometimes difficult. So I've actually invested in building my own home shed gym. So that way I have less excuses. So I'm actually in the process of getting that thing up and going, have the weights and all that kind of stuff. But I just had electrical put in it.
It's always like a she shed, only for pro wrestling, right?
Yeah, yep. It's a he shed, which I guess is just a shed, right?
Yeah,
yeah. But yeah, it's definitely made for that purpose. But I'd say, if nothing else, I like to make sure to try and get 100 push-ups in a day when I can. But I'm not always super consistent. So I also have a set of dumbbells, adjustable 50-pound dumbbells in my bedroom, as well as a total gym. So like the Chuck Norris type of thing. So sometimes it's just a matter of getting on there and just kind of doing that or picking up the weights a little bit. So just finding little tiny opportunities to keep yourself moving.
And that's a good point. You mentioned consistency. Another thing as far as staying in shape also comes with nutrition can also be consistent. I was wondering if you can give us an idea of what your nutritional values are as far as helping stay in shape, like what your calorie count is.
Well, all things in moderation, but you don't stay as a super heavyweight by, I guess eating, just bird food all the time.
Right.
So I still make sure to get a lot of protein in. But for me, it's less about what I eat and more about how much I eat, because all things in moderation. So I still enjoy my pizzas and mostly my chickens and steaks, the protein, the heavy things. But I make it a point to consume at least half a gallon of water a day, try to get a full gallon. Doesn't always happen. But just kind of, I guess just kind of focus on the protein and the water intake.
Right. And when it comes to match day, I know you have to be loose and you have to not really eat as much on match day. But like let's say if you got like a big match and you have to stay loose and light, like what would be like a average pre-match ritual for you as far as like staying loose, nutrition, or staying loose and match ready on match day? How would that be in the words of Big Zo?
So I guess it kind of depends when the match is. Usually 9 times out of 10 the matches are later in the evening. So I make it a point, I might eat a pretty big breakfast, but then my either skip lunch or very light lunch, because you don't want to like barf in the ring.
Right.
So I'm going to wait until afterwards to kind of, and I burned a lot of calories in the ring. That would probably end up being a little bit later of the dinner. I like to make it a point just to kind of get in the mindset and to get my body starting to loosen up and getting used to like this gear. I put my gear on pretty early, so even if I'm dressed in a t-shirt and some jeans, I might have been wearing my gear, since like 10 o'clock in the morning, just so I can kind of adjust to it and be ready to move and be fluid in that way.
And that way you're not, all like this, that way, but you're not too loose.
Yeah. It feels more natural that way. And also it's one thing, I hate to wait till the last second, like, if the match is about to go on, I better hurry up and get ready and put my boots on, then trying to figure out getting your mind right. So that's a big part of being mentally ready is big, and stretching in that kind of way is just as big as being physically ready. So being able to just make sure you prepared and get my gear on early is a good way of doing that. And
that's a good thing, yes. Since you've been in OVW, who would you say has been as far as wrestling with the OVW stars here, who would you say has been your favorite person to work with in the ring as far as opponents go?
It's hard to say because you have so many different people that you wrestle, and you have so many memories and good ones. I enjoy doing anything with the LOB, whether we're on the same side or even against. So Cashflow is somebody that was actually early on one of my trainers. So I think any time that he and I lock up, it's kind of an easy night, but also it's going to be hard hit. So I do enjoy having an opportunity to wrestle with Cashflow. But yeah, I don't know. I think Shiloh Jones, he's somebody that, formerly now Truth Magnum, he's somebody that we were just talking the other day. I think we've had more matches against each other than probably most anybody from all of the different evolutions of his character.
Yeah.
So we've had
shout out to Truth Magnum and Turbo Floyd.
Yeah.
So now you mentioned opportunity as far as opponents. Like I mentioned, Donovan Cecil was my guest last month before Night by Rumble. And I asked him, and I'm going to ask you the same question. I asked him who would be his dream match if you ever made it big. It was actually a 2-part question. If you ever got called up, who would dream match be against? And if you're still here in OVW, who would you want to use your dream match? And I'm going to pass along the challenge, and I'm going to pass along this challenge that we were talking about. And he said he would love to face you between Donovan Cecil and Big Zo, maybe one day down the road. So in regards to that challenge, I do have, I would like to relay that. And the question I have is yes or no.
Absolutely, because even if you didn't relay that challenge, that was going to be my answer anyways, was as far as people in OVW. I think that he and I could have a great match because we're very similar as far as similar size. He's got a few inches on me height-wise and a couple pounds, but very similar. Strength-wise, he has a little bit of edge there too, just being the world's strongest, or the Kentucky strongest man. That's a big deal. But I'd say that even regardless, like both of them, he and I are both power lifters by trade. We're both very agile. So I think we could really put on a great show and entertain people. And I think we have that mutual respect, which is also important when you're in the ring with people.
And that's one thing you have to have is, the respect. And I know there's people out there that I've met who have been in pro wrestling before, like Donovan, who it's almost like you have to have respect for them before you even get in the ring for them. And to tell you the truth, as a fan, I've been known to respect no matter who they are, whether a Hall of Famer or they're an up-and-comer. So,
well, you asked me about WWE also.
Yes.
So if I were to go to the Fed, then I would say I wish if Big E didn't have a broken neck. Of course, if he's able to ever heal up, I'd love to face him because I think like the New Day, in a lot of ways, they've helped me, like as far as people that have inspired me. I used to listen to every episode of the New Day podcast during the pandemic, and they helped me to kind of figure out that it's important to be able to, I guess, be in tune with yourself, to be yourself, to be charismatic, to, if you're not having fun doing it. And this is also something that Truth Magnum and Turbo Floyd put me on to. It's like, we can focus so much on the moves and the stuff that we do in the ring, but if you don't focus on the why and the character and the energy, like I just have so much more fun with that now that I've just kind of just go out there and being loose. So I would love that opportunity with BB.
And that's one thing as a fan perspective. You mentioned fun. My mother used to be opposed when I was growing up for me to watch pro wrestling, but because she thought I would act it out. And after going to, I remember she came to a show with me when we were down at the riverfront this past spring, and we got to meet a couple of the guys down there, Tony Gunn, who I follow on Facebook. She's watched me grow up, especially with my love for OVW. And that's kind of what I explained to her. It's fun for them, it's fun for me. So
absolutely.
We got a fan question here from a friend of mine, Eric Clark, from his podcast, Vibing with Sleazy.
Okay.
It's a two-part question.
Sure.
The first part is, do you feel like your matches are better when you know the opponent, or if it's an opponent you've never been in the ring with?
I think chemistry is important. So I mean, it's every once in a while you'll find out that the first match that you have with somebody that you're able to develop that chemistry. But in general, I think if you know somebody's idiosyncrasies, you understand the moveset, you know how they operate, then like if you guys follow the Best of 7 series with Shane Mercer and I, he's one of my best friends, and we know each other in and out. That was somebody that was an honor and pleasure to work with. And I think that when you have that mutual trust and admiration, and also you just kind of know what they do, then it gives you that opportunity. I could kind of turn things around and do some reversals and some stuff that maybe if it's like, I don't really know what this guy does, so he might hit me with something out of nowhere. So definitely having the chemistry with somebody that you're familiar with is important. So yeah.
Right. And the second part of the question, if I can find it here, was, and this part may be a little goofy, are there any stores or businesses around Louisville that you've been to or seen, and you thought to yourself, this would be a perfect place for an off-site match, like outside this arena? Have you ever been to like a store or anywhere? Like, I know WrestleMania 11, Piper and Goldust had that backlot brawl in WrestleMania 11. The grocery store fight between Booker T and Steve Austin.
I'm tracking.
Where would you like to have like one of those impromptu encounters that. If I use that term loosely.
I mean, I've definitely like the Sam's Club is like a big open venue, like a warehouse type of thing. So that would always be good because it's spacious, but also you have plenty to work with.
I was thinking Sam's Club or Costco, one of the two.
Yeah, those would be good spaces. I think also a furniture store would be interesting.
Oh my gosh,
You know?
a furniture store.
Yeah, there's all kinds of gadgets you can get into it there. You having the sofas and the beds, and
Yeah.
coming off the top of a chest of drawers and throwing somebody through a mirror. Yeah.
Already had like the electronic session over at over an electronics store. But let's see what else we got. Is there any oh, here's one. This is from my friend Jennifer. What's your outlook on the wrestling industry as far as how since OVW's made a comeback for the Netflix wrestlers? What would you say your personal outlook on the pro wrestling industry, especially in OVW guys? Well, I can elaborate. What's your outlook on pro wrestling, and where do you see yourself in the pro wrestling in, let's say, the next 5 years?
Okay. Well, so as far as professional wrestling, I believe that it's definitely in a boom. So I'm somebody who grew up during the Attitude Era as a teenager. So I really loved that time period, and I don't know that wrestling's ever going to be able to mimic or copy that as far as pop culture goes. But as far as from a business standpoint, I don't think that pro wrestling's ever been quite as lucrative as far as the connections and the level of the Netflix and all that kind of stuff goes.
Right.
For me, I'm a 40-year-old man, and 45 when in 5 years from now, I hope that I'm still able to be in the ring doing my thing. By then, my son will be an adult, so I'm hoping that, or pretty close to it, he'll be 17. So hopefully him and my daughter, if they want to get into the business, I'll be able to start to train them and starting to pass it on. But for me, it's important to stay healthy and to be able to do what I can do to continue to entertain people. So if I'm able to stay healthy and stay in the ring, cool. But if I start to lose a step, then I'm hoping that maybe I can help out in the backstage area, be a producer, be an agent, kind of help in some other capacities to continue, maybe even a manager, to continue to give back to the business that's given me so much.
Well, speaking of giving back, and you mentioned passing on and giving back. Is there anything you would like to say? Anything you would like to say to those who are thinking about just getting started in the professional wrestling business?
Sure.
Any words of wisdom?
Well, I mean, if you're going to take it seriously, then I think that you should definitely take your training seriously. So go to a reputable school or a reputable trainer. So OVW is a great place to get your start. If not OVW, then at least make sure that you find somebody that has been at a level that you want to go to. Because if it's just somebody who hasn't really done much, but they want to take your money, then it might not necessarily be a good investment. At least somebody that is trustworthy and not trying to just kind of take your money. So, but I'd say even before that, if you're going to take professional wrestling seriously, there's not any guarantees in this business. So it's not a guarantee that you're going to make it to WWE or AEW or the next thing. So putting all your eggs in that basket, I think it's always good to have that backup as far as, I would encourage anybody, go to college or get your trade or do whatever you got to do as far as making sure that you have a career to fall back on. So, because also they don't want dummies in the wrestling ring,
Right.
So it's like they're not necessarily looking for the 18-year-old kid that doesn't have any life experience. Sometimes that might get you somewhere, but then, you might burn the candle really fast and hard, but then you don't have anything to fall back on. But being able to have some experience and some training and the vocation that you can add value to the locker room, then I think that's a good way of looking at it too.
Right. Now, just a couple real brief, a couple end of session questions. Is there anyone, and this is kind of like where I like to close. Is there anyone you wish to give a shout out to? Is there anyone you'd like to thank for helping support you on the journey and cheering you on?
Well, all my soldiers. So anybody that
soldiers are like that. Soldiers.
Yeah, man. So anybody that's been at OVW, whether you're a new fan or somebody that's been along the journey for a long time, I've been at this particular company since 2016 fairly consistently. So thank you everybody that has ever booed me, that's ever cheered me, that's ever bought a T-shirt or a piece of merch, that sent me a Facebook message or whatever. That's very heartwarming. Like, thank you, people like you that reach out to me or like, hey, I'd love to talk to you, because I'm in the car with my my wife and kids, and we're kind of like, hey, somebody's want to talk to me. It's humbling because you're, even though you're a superstar or whatever, like when you're the 5-10 minutes of fame, back when you're out of there, it's really easy to kind of lose sight of, oh yeah, people actually like you, they actually care about you,
right,
as far as what you can do and provide and contribute. So anybody that's ever cheered or bought a ticket to specifically support me, I want to thank you for that.
Well, Zoe, that's pretty much all we have for today. But as a fan's perspective, especially one who's doing the series, RHINOTalk, which is our episode, I would like to, thank you for taking your time and vibing with us today here on the Artful Rhino and RHINOTalk. And ladies and gentlemen, for Big Zoe, thanks again, brother. Tonight we do have OVW Tough Love airing live at 7 p.m. on I believe you can find it on YouTube and the Thriller TV Plus app. If you wish to find out more about Ohio Valley Wrestling, you can look them up online at ovwrestling.com. We are located, I say we, so I'm a fan too, HOTPOINT Davis Arena. You can stop by, get a ticket to one of their shows. 4400 Shepherdsville Road, Louisville, Kentucky, 40218. For Big Zoe and the Zolzers and all of OVW, I am Matt Prophet, the Artful Rhino. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a privilege. Zoe, thank you very much. All right. And I understand you've got to go get ready for some tough love this evening. So, OVW Tough Love for Zoe, the Artful Rhino. Here we go.